Australian voters are drifting further and further away from the major parties. As new polling shows, the election could come down to a hair, with independents and minor parties benefiting from voters feeling more confident to shop around. We asked some pollsters to gauge the Australian public, and here are the numbers. They spoke to just under 2,000 people across the country. This particular poll had a margin of error of 2.8%. They also presented punters with every option that will be on a ballot paper on Saturday in their own electorate to get a more accurate result. Ultimately, when looking at the results on two-party preferred, Labor came in at 51% and the Coalition at 49%. But the real interesting changes have been showing up when it comes to minor party and independent votes. Almost 1 in 3 people went with non-major parties in the last election, and that looks like a trend that's set to continue and grow. Compared to last election, independent candidates are up 1.7% to 7% of the primary vote, and minor parties like One Nation have increased their support to 9%. The Greens are relatively stable on 12, down 0.2. So what's happened? Well, the pollsters reckon Australian voters have become a lot more sophisticated in their vote, utilising the preferential voting system to more accurately express their views and desires. This is pretty evident when we see the rise of the minor parties and independents. Just take a look at One Nation. According to the pollsters, they've become more than just a protest vote, maintaining their margin despite other options like the Trumpet of Patriots and Family First, also contesting a similar group of people. Elsewhere, the rise of independent candidates can largely be attributed to a combination of voter unrest, dissatisfaction, and the power of preferential voting. While many of these independent candidates don't get the most votes on the first count, they are regularly listed highly on other parties' preferences, lead to a trickle-through of support that eventually ends in a majority stake. These independents market themselves as politicians who don't have to vote to a party line, instead consulting with the community on each policy. And if the numbers are to be believed, it seems to be cutting through. Pollsters have also taken some other things into account by including things like age, gender, and state, but also education, income, and whether they own their own home outright, have a mortgage, rent, or live with parents. Polling is great, especially for big nerds like myself, but at the end of the day, the only polling that really matters is the one on the 3rd of May. If this recent poll is correct, we're probably looking at a continued fall in support of Labor and the Coalition, and a rise in votes for independents and minor parties.